It's your turn. After today's prayer, we'll have a few moments of silence, and then we will sing Spirit of Life, which is 123, printed in your bulletin. First we will sing it in English, and then we will sing it in Spanish. Today's prayer is a poem of mine with the same title as today's sermon, Choose a Summer Day. Summer magic unfolding, lazy, unfettered, unfiltered, timeless adventures. Ice cream man days, bologna mustard lunches, and drive-in movies with PJs and popcorn in the station wagon. Giant steps. Red Rover sends Sally right over. Street lights come on, and just a few more minutes, Mom. Screened-in porches, cellars, and garages become stores and schools on rainy days. Comic books under blanket tents. Summer's landscape, small veggie gardens, woods, swamps, and fields, and the shade of large, leafy trees. Happiness rooted in freedom. Imagination unleashed, discovering the world on our own terms. Not just memories, rather the substance of my present, the real me, still at play, choosing a summer day. For today's readings, I have asked 5 members of the worship committee to do the readings for me.
Summer is the time when one sheds one's tensions with one's clothes, and the right kind of day is jeweled balm for the battered spirit. A few of those days, and you can become drunk with the belief that all's right with the world.
From Deb Caletti. Summer, after all, is a time when wonderful things can happen to quiet people. For those few months, you're not required to be who everyone thinks you are. And that cut grass smell in the air, and the chance to dive into the deep end of a pool give you a courage you don't have the rest of the year. You can be grateful and easy, with no eyes on you and no past. Summer just opens the door and lets you out.
From William Carlos Williams. In summer, the song sings itself.
From Henry James. Summer afternoon, to me, those have always been the 2 most beautiful words in the English language.
From Henry Wadsworth Longfellow. Then followed that beautiful season, summer. Filled was the air with a dreamy and magical light, and the landscape lay as if new, created in all the freshness of childhood.
It was the beginning of July 1958 when my mom's extended family gathered at a large summer cottage on the cove side of Plum Island. The house belonged to friends of her oldest sister, my Aunt Mary. It was a large, 3-floor, peak-roofed New England affair. The top floor was an open attic with beds and cots. To everyone's delight, it had 3 separate screened-in porches nearly encircling the house. It was at the boot end of a sandy road with just a couple of other houses, all looking out over the cove and at low tide, the mud flats. Aunt Mary, Uncle Dan, and their 2 daughters, Rosemary and Ginny, my unmarried Aunt Marguerite, my grandparents, Nana and Pa, and our family of 9, plus a dog. We always had a dog. Had the cottage for 2 weeks. On the long weekend in the middle, my mom's 2 brothers and their families of 8 other cousins came down to stay. The 17 kids inhabited the attic and screened-in porches, and the 11 adults slept in bedrooms and in the living area. I was 8 years old and had just finished 2nd grade less than a month earlier. We had gathered because Nana had had 3 consecutive amputations on one of her legs due to gangrene at the ankle, knee, and hip. I guess they suspected she had little time. For me, those 2 weeks were filled with magical summer days, and although it is nearly 59 years later, I remember them ever so clearly. That particular childhood summer is vital and alive in my mind and in my heart. As a child, summer days were filled with adventure, much freedom, and a wonderfully alien rhythm. Summer days felt like they were so long that each day was as long as a week, and 2 weeks felt like forever. These were days of reduced expectation, responsibility, and supervision, and the pressures of being good shifted to just staying out of my mom's hair. I had always enjoyed playing with my siblings and cousins most of the time, but out of the 17 kids, I was the 5th oldest, and unknown to me, this was going to be my first special summer where family and friendship diverged. Staying in one of the other 2 houses that looked out across the cove was a family with only 2 children, 2 brothers. The eldest was the age of my older brother and cousins, so they all started hanging out together and going off to the beach. It was a crowd that I was too young for. They weren't mean, but they let me know that I was unwelcome. Go away. You can't come with us. Stay here. You're still a baby. The younger of the 2 brothers next door was my age. We both had October birthdays. He was a beautiful, brown-eyed, tow-headed, blonde, happy-go-lucky, adventurous kid who was always smiling. We became fast friends in less than an hour, as only kids can do. And I, for the first time in my young life, fell in love with someone outside of the family. Not the grown-up kind of adult love that would come later in life, but an intimate and immediate bonding like we'd always been friends. I felt a joy and freedom hanging out with him that I had never known. We hardly left each other's side, and yet, to tell the truth, I don't remember his name. I do remember us trudging ankle-deep across the mud flats, each step loud, sucking slurp. the mud oozing between our toes like warm pudding, filling in each foothole like a closing mouth as we went clamming at dead low tide. Laughing, we'd hurry back ahead of the rising water. We'd fall and pull each other out, back up, splattered in smelly muck. We were so proud that we were old enough to know how to flee to the safety of the little sandy beach as the tide came in and the cove refilled. One morning, we dug a deep hole in the sand behind a dilapidated shed and filled it with buckets of water for the starfish we had captured, only to find out after lunch that the water had drained out and the sun had killed the starfish. My dad comforted us as he explained the errors in our plans to make a tidal pool. And although saddened by the dead stars and disappointed at our failure, we immediately set out on another summer adventure. We were young boys, and summer crooned to us, "Come play, come see, come be mine forever." In the morning, I'd rush to finish my cold cereal in one of those little individual boxes that split open to make a cardboard bowl. Those special assortment packs of cereal boxes only appeared when we were on vacation away from home. Finishing breakfast, I'd fly through the screen door and holler, "Bye, Ma!" My mom would holler, "Don't let the screen door slam!" And my Aunt Mary would holler, "Don't call your mother Ma, she's not a goat." I'd hurry off to meet my new best friend. Some days, we'd hike up to the little mom and pop store at the end of the dirt road and rifle through the comic books. They all had half of the front cover ripped off and only cost a nickel. Or we'd carefully cross the hot tar two-lane highway that ran the length of the island to wander among the colorful crowds and visiting families sunning on the long, sandy ocean beach. We'd dare each other to stand in the what seemed to us to be huge, crashing waves. We'd meander between the beach blankets, coolers, and lawn chairs, stopping now again to build sandcastles or dig moats. Or we'd just run around aimlessly on the ocean beach till it was time to go home for lunch. We were inseparable buddies off on our own. During his stay on Plum Island, I slept over his house twice and was amazed that he had his own bedroom. Even at home, I shared my bedroom with 5 brothers. And he was amazed when he slept over on our screened-in porch how many people were staying at our house and how the grown-ups just treated him like any of the other kids. But my favorite times were when we hid in the cool sand under the 3 cove houses built on huge round pilings that went deep into the sand. We would crawl in to where no one could see us. The only one allowed to join us was the dog. It was our own private clubhouse, a secret world where we could talk and laugh and imagine. Imagine if we had our own boat. Imagine if we could find buried treasure. Imagine if you could come and live at my house. He and his family left the island before we did. It left a hole in my heart and a kind of quiet, understanding sadness. We both knew this would happen from the start. And I'm sure we promised to always be friends and never forget. Actually, I never have. A little more than a week after Plum Island on July 21st, Nana died. I was deeply saddened. She was a warm, loving presence in my life. She was always there with her arms wide open, offering a huge hug, crooning some Irish saying in her thick brogue. I was hurt that my parents thought I was too young to go to the funeral to say goodbye. They thought I wasn't old enough to understand death. But I understood and grieved both the loss of Nana and the loss of my first deep friendship. Those 2 weeks of that summer are among my favorite weeks of childhood. They were filled with joy, sorrow, and unresisted, unexpected adventures. Most of us have childhood summer days that seemed endless, and worries held no power to mar the glory of the day. Days when we lived unscripted, relaxed adventures that rose and fell in no particular order. Times when what we were doing was unattached to who others thought we were or who we thought we ought to be. Play, for its own sake, filled the day between waking and going to sleep. Now, I'm not going all Pollyanna or rose-colored glasses. The story I told had fun, love, loss, and even death. But it was timeless and glorious because it was not constrained by expectation and the need to justify myself. Those 2 weeks are among my favorites because I was just being whoever I am without effort or editing. There was no separation between those days and me. Those days breathed me, and I breathed those days. A summer day in childhood is sometimes a day when doing with purpose is less important than just doing for fun. When the day brings adventures to us and everything is fresh and new once again. When eating a slice of watermelon is all there is in the world and time loses its grip on us. In each of our childhoods, there is probably a day we remember and in reverie wander in the luxurious nature of summer's freedom. Take a moment. If one hasn't already surfaced in your mind, choose a summer day from your childhood. Relax, enjoy it, and remember it gratefully. It was a day when you got to be just you, unedited and unfettered. Choose a day whose memory can open your heart and bring a smile to your face. You've probably all heard of the Zen concept of beginner's mind. Sometimes summer days in childhood are days that are entirely beginner's mind. Today, what I would like to encourage us to try is to choose one day this summer and live it as if we were a child. It doesn't matter if you're a resident, summer folk, guest, or visitor. Choose one day this summer. We all deserve the break. Indulge your deep, true self, the you that is undefined and unjudged from without or within. Break with habits, old thoughts, beliefs, and well-woven safety nets. Let go for a single day of who we have become and be more the person we were in early childhood. Shake free from our sense of time passing and instead let the day expand so that a single moment lasts forever. Choose a summer day as a gift to your soul. A gift of a day where beauty revives you and wonder leads you to unexpected delights. We all deserve one day each year where smiling and laughing are our spontaneous leaders. Choose a summer day which honors and celebrates the childhood days that you remember fondly. Everyone in this room deserves a day off from self-definition. I promise you, you won't get lost. It's just one day. I encourage us to switch the focus from keeping a schedule to exploring the next adventure that crosses our path just for the heck of it. Nature gave us that gift as children. Now, let us go out and give ourselves that same gift and choose a summer day. Thank you. Blessed be. Amen.